Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, St. Luke. Good evening, members from other churches, from New Hope, from New Hill, from Mount Canaan, Williams Memorial, Point Pleasant, even churches, people that are just listening to us, Lane Chapel, and whoever you are, as you're listening to a very brief rundown, if you would, and review of our Sunday school lesson. But I want to say it's a great day, of course, in America. So let me just get right into today's lesson. Let me just get right into today's lesson. I shall not hold you very long because I just believe that we are in a celebratory mood. St. Luke and others of you who have been being blessed by our broadcast, make sure that you follow our directions toward our giving. If you don't mind, God bless you for doing that as well. Tomorrow morning, we will have our district Sunday school lesson. Here is the meeting ID, also the passcode. And I will be doing the teaching tomorrow. I'll be doing the teaching tomorrow morning at the 9:15 hour. Bench rally here Sunday, November the 22nd, asking that all members or groups of members asked to give a $200 offering. You may do that by Givelify, you may send it, or you may drop it off. You'll be getting information from me regarding this in person later this week. God bless you for that. Also, a very contentious election season is over. We want to be thankful for our brothers and our sisters in places like Atlanta, Georgia, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, uh, places like that in Detroit, Michigan. These are the people, along with those of us who voted to for the popular vote, that we may see a new day, a new administration in this country. But I picked those four cities as well. Atlanta, Georgia. Thank God for our brothers and sisters who went and voted there. We thank God for our brothers and our sisters in Detroit, Michigan. We thank God for our brothers and our sisters in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And of course, we thank God for our brothers and sisters in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and even over around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And a special shout out even to our Native American brothers and sisters down in Arizona among the Navajo tribe, people who made the difference in this election. This change came by because of the hard work of people of color. I won't get into the breakdown of how this election broke down today, but I just want you to know that this happened. Yes, we prayed. Yes, we called unto God. Yes, we cried unto God. But most of all, it's because people got out and we voted. And now there's a new day, and we're going to pray God's favor. We're going to pray God's blessing upon Vice President elect Harris and President elect Joe Biden. Now, these people are not going to be the saviors or the salvations of our communities. God knows that is not true. But what we do know is this: the truth is, they are far, far much better, far, far better than the administration that is gone. I will not do as others, other of the other color, when Hillary Clinton lost 4 years ago, where they celebrated and wished bad things. We don't wish bad things upon Mike Pence or even bad things on Donald Trump and his family. We just are thankful that they have gone away, and hopefully at some point they learn the error of their ways. But nonetheless, right now, we certainly want to be thankful and prayerful that God has given another opportunity for Black folk, people of color, to breathe. Thank you so very much. Tomorrow morning, um, St. Luke will be on 10:30 in the morning. And I just think every black person in America ought to be tuning in. If you want to come in and sit in the rear of the sanctuary, you're welcome to do that. And we'll be on our Facebook page tomorrow as well. St. Luke, our birthdays this month are Miracle Stokes, Patricia West, and Tyler Williams. Tyler Williams, his birthday as well. Praise the Lord for our November birthdays. Let me get into this lesson today. As I said, I won't be very long. I'll be rather brief today because I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow. John 15, John 15, John 15, this lesson, the vine and the branches, abiding love, abiding love. Look at this text in John 15. Jesus is on his way to Calvary. He's on his way to the cross. And in John 13 that we talked about last week, and then in John 14, Jesus talks about himself as in the beginning, what was the Word? The Word was with God, the Word was God. And then he talks about John the Baptist. And now he comes into this, him being the Word made flesh in John 14. But now in John 15, Jesus says this, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. I am the vine, and my Father is the husbandman. He's saying, I'm a branch. I'm a part of my Father who takes care of me. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes it so that it will be even more fruitful. Look at this description of God as a husbandman, as Noah was given that task. He cuts off the branches that don't bear any fruit, but the branches that do bear fruit, look at what it says. He prunes them. I'm not a gardener. I'm not much. I used to watch farming when I was a child, but the pruning process in gardening is very important. In fact, it seems to have the opposite effect. And what happens is in pruning, you cut something away in order to make it grow, in order to make it better. Oh my God. And so consequently, when you're pruning vegetables or you're pruning in the vineyard or whatever it is, you're cutting away in order that it may grow even to something better. Verse 3, he says, you are already clean because of the word I've spoken to you. That was part of the husbandman's job. But if you remain or abide in me, as I also abide in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Yes, that one of the things that people will learn is that if you separate the vine or the plant, and then once it's separated and it's just lying there, there's no nutrient, there's no nourishment going to it, and consequently it dies. Once we find ourselves as branches of his, and there's no nutrient, there's nothing moving us, there's nothing carrying, there's nothing being taken to us. It's almost like an umbilical cord for a child. Then as long as it is the nurturing, it is the feeding, if you would, for the baby that is in the embryonic stages. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. Jesus said, now I am the vine. And now he takes it a step further to his disciples. And you are the branches. If you remain in me, he's talking to us now, and then I in you, you will bear much fruit. Look at what Jesus is saying, that as long as you remain in me, because now I am the vine. Yes, yes, yes. And if you remain connected to the vine, you will bear many fruit. But apart from me, there's nothing you can do. I think that needs to be taken under great consideration there. That as long as we are connected, I like that. As long as we are connected to the vine, then we can bear fruit. But once we are separated from it, there's nothing that we can do. Yes, yes, yes. Who can separate us from the love of God? Look at verse 6. But if you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers, and such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire and burned. But if you stay connected to me, and then my words remain in you. Remind you, Jesus is getting ready to go to the cross. And he says, but remember what I've taught you? Remember the teachings I've given to you? He said, but if my words remain in you, ask whatever you want, and it'll be done for you. Because this is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit and showing yourselves to be my disciples. Now look, notice this. He has gone there. We have gone from, we are branches, but now he is telling us that now you are my students. You are my disciples. But there's evidence of your being my student and evidence of you being my disciple because you are bearing much fruit. I like that right there. Yes, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. God loved me so much, yes, and then loved you so much consequently that he is giving me as a ransom for you. So now you've got to remain in my love and then keep my commandments. You will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remained in his love. Look at how he keeps showing how our relationship to him ought to be similar to his relationship with his Father. He's saying, if I did this, no less is expected of you. If you love, yes, me, then as I have loved my Father, then you can follow the commands that have been given. Yes. And then he says in verse 11, I have told you this, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be made complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no man, has no one than this, and that is to lay down one's life for one's friends. Look at what Jesus is saying here. Jesus is telling them, look, I'm about to go away. I'm about to be crucified. I'm about to go to Calvary. I'm about to become the ultimate, the supreme sacrifice, not for my sake, but for your sake. He says, but greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. In fact, Jesus went on later in another part and said, but you don't have the power to take my life. I've got the power to lay my own life down and pick it up again when I get ready. Then he says, but you are my friends if you do what I command. Look at what Jesus takes us from. Jesus takes us from being his students, his disciples, but he says now, but if you do what I say, yes, you are my friends. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. You see, the steward, the servant, in biblical times, he didn't know everything. He only knew what the master shared with him. But Jesus said to this, in this case, I have made you my friends, because everything, yes, I didn't leave anything unrevealed to you. Yeah, everything I learned from my Father, I've shared it and made it known to you. And so he says this finally: you do not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. Aren't you glad today that God chose you, that Jesus chose you? And then I'm thankful that he also not only chose me, but he appointed me that I might go and bear fruit. Now, the choice wasn't just for me to be who I am. The choice and the anointing and the appointing, rather, was so that we might bear fruit, fruit that will last. And so that whatever we ask in the name of the Father, he'll give us. Verse 17, this is my command, that you love ye one another. This is a season for love, people. Even in the midst of a coronavirus season, even in the midst of a transition of power, yes, we are blessed and we are beneficiaries of that. But let's learn to love one another. I'm praying that those 70 million people who voted for Donald Trump, I know that this is going to be a very difficult period for them, just as it was going to be a very difficult period for us in our minds and physically. But we hope that the gap is bridged, that hatred actually is reduced. Will it go away? Absolutely not. I wish I could promise you that, but I know better. But we can pray that God reduces it, that God reduces the hatred and takes down the tone and the tenor so that we might do what verse 17 says, and that is to love each other. Tomorrow, I'm going to preach a message from Isaiah chapter 9. You don't want to miss it. And it says, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Yes, yes. And I'm going to talk about that for a little while. Talk about that tomorrow. Yes, we have seen the light. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I pray for you and you pray for me. And I hope that you've been blessed by today's lesson. God bless you. And of course, God keep you.